Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Khaled the Giant, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Rogue for PvP. I made a tier list video yesterday and it seemed like a good majority of you guys really enjoyed that video. It's one of my better trending videos right now on my channel, and I've gained 10 subscribers from it, so I think you guys want to keep seeing more PvP content, more PvP ideas. I look forward to the launch of Diablo 4. We are just under 1 week away, and when that happens, I will be streaming Diablo, bringing you guys PvP content, bringing you actual footage finally of going into PvP and testing out a lot of these classes and seeing how they perform. Like I said, my main is going to be the Sorcerer, so that's the class I'm really going to start the preseason with. And then moving into Season 1 will most likely be the Druid. But we're going to start with Rogue today because Rogue is going to be the most popular class. And as I said in my tier list video yesterday, I had Rogue in the S tier. So we're going to talk about it with a little bit more detail. Now, just a disclaimer, of course, all of this is just speculation. We have to see how these classes and skills are going to work in live game, like when it goes live, and we can actually test it, because all damage is nerfed by 93%, and then it also stacks on the increased damage reduction that players have built into their classes. Now with this build that I'm going to go over with you guys real quick, I'm not going to be going over gear and things of that nature, and the only reason why is because I don't want to take the time to do that, because who knows what you're going to use. So I feel like setting something up for you guys right now is kind of a waste of time, and I feel like it's also taking away from the fun. So the goal with this video is just to go over really good PvP like skills that you guys should consider when making your PvP build. Again, this build is not meant for you to copy and paste. This is 100% the build that I would use if I played a rogue personally, going into it, because these are like more of like the obvious choices. So let's get started with that. So we're gonna start with Invigorating Strike. I was gonna go with Puncture, but with the playstyle that I want to go with Rogue, I want it to be in and out. I want to be able to strike with crit and just be able to attack fast. And my goal is to be in your face as a rogue. I don't really want to play range style. I want to be popping in and out of stealth, dealing a lot of DPS, and getting that guaranteed crit on you, which I will go over later. Now the upgrade path you can go doesn't really matter, but I went with the ability to get vulnerability. Um, the reason why is in PvP, I imagine there's going to be a lot of like dot damage over time effects on you, bleeds. I imagine a lot of people are going to stay on you a majority of the time. So I feel like this skill right here, being able to make my opponent vulnerable immediately, is going to actually help me out, because if I'm ever in a pinch where like I'm getting messed up, I have the opportunity to make them 20% weaker, and I can go in and start being aggressive. When I'm trying to back off, I can instead maybe play more aggressive and have that window to deal more DPS to them. Now I went with Twisting Blades, and the reason I went with Twisting Blades is it does really good in PvE, but also it's gonna do. I personally think it's gonna do very good in PvP, especially right here, like when it returns, or when enemies are dazed while impaled with Twisting Blades. So again, this right here, a guaranteed CC that you're gonna be able to pull off. I think it's gonna be very good. But I also have it because we are going to be fighting PvE, and PvE is going to be something that you have to take into consideration when going into here, because again, you don't know how bad the PvE is going to be compared to the PvP. So you still want to have something in your build that can help you kill ads, not just players. Now I went with this to gain 12% damage reduction while in range of somebody. Now I went with this choice for obvious reasons. This build is all about being in your face and being aggressive. So again, if I'm fighting, let's say, a barbarian or a druid, classes that are going to be in your face as well, I'm going to be tankier because they're next to me. Now my counter to this class would be a sorcerer, because sorcerer is going to be all about range. So they're gonna kind of negate this passive. But a majority of the classes that you will be fighting, like, let's say 3 out of the 5 classes are really close range classes, and even Necromancer could be aggressive with its minions. So you potentially have 4 out of the 5 classes really playing against, like really playing on you. So this perk will definitely be used a lot. I feel this passive will be really strong. And then you heal for 3% of your max life when you critically strike close enemies. Again, we have a way to get guaranteed critical strike, which we will go down later in the build. So this right here is going to be awesome. So like I can critically strike you guaranteed and get 3% max health. Again, this isn't much, but this is just kind of part of the rotation to just help with your survivability. you're not really taking this passive for the three, like, for what it does, but it's just going to add on that quality of life that you need, survivability, with the rogue, because the rogue is squishy by default, but you like right there, it has passives that's going to make it tankier. And then critically striking an enemy grants 50% movement speed. Again, this class is all about speed. Like, one of the play styles that I really want to do, and if I can build crit right into the rogue, is I want to be able to, like, critically strike, go into concealment, and then I have that increased movement speed, and you move faster in concealment as well. So I want to see if this will stack, which I think it will stack, because you gain unstoppable and grants 30% movement speed. So again, like, if you can get 45% movement speed, you know, like, in that window, that's kind of cool. Again, we'll have to do some testing and see if it'll stack like that, but if it does, that's going to be some crazy repositioning. Now, for the passives on the third tier, is I went with just one in here, because I think just having some type of resistance to dot damage is going to be important. Again, potions are going to be a big thing in PvP in this game, and there's a lot of resistance potions to every element and every type of damage in the game. So I don't think you need to really I don't think you really need to invest so much into this, but you definitely want the points so you can get this. I only put 2 points into the reactive defense because it just gives you a solid, like, 12%. And I think this is going to be really nice when you're CC'd. This will just help to stack on the tankiness, because again, you're getting 12% damage reduction here, and then you're also getting 12% damage reduction here. So you have 24% damage reduction when you're CC'd and someone is just beating you up. So again, this is all stacking, making you tankier, helping you survive. And that's why I put a couple of points in there. I could have put one more, but I wanted to use that point somewhere else. Now, for the first perk in this row, we're gonna go with Caltrops. Again, this perk is kind of like the spicy perk, I like to call it. It's not mandatory, but I think for me, I'm gonna use this to replace my ultimate. Again, I know some people say, why are you going to replace your ultimate? I just think the ultimates for Rogue in terms of PvP are not going to be that good. I think they're going to be like, I feel like they're going to be like situational, and they're going to be good against bad players. You know, like, I feel like for example, like Shadow Clone, I want to see how good it does in PvP. If Shadow Clone is like meta and it's like busted and it hits hard, then I'll get rid of Caltrops or Shadow Clone. But, like, you know, the death trap that you put on the floor, again, a good player is going to see that. He's not going to be baited into walking into it. And Rain of Arrows, again, a good player is going to see that they're coming at him. So he's not going to run with the arrows. He's going to dash in front of the ultimate. So you wasted your skill. You got no damage out of it. So I would rather have Caltrops that has 2 charges that I can throw in an area and like help me crowd control my enemies. And then also, like, I get increased crit chance against the enemies in my Caltrops. Excuse me. Again, you get 2 charges with it, so this is like a great spammable ability. It only has a 12-second cooldown. That's pretty busted in my opinion. And then for here, after a knockback or knocking down an enemy, you gain 50% increased critical strike chance against them for 3 seconds. Again, like I said, we're trying to build into that crit. We're trying to hit hard, and we have ways to knock down and CC enemies, which we're going to get into in a minute. When your evade cooldown is reduced by 1 second every time you daze an enemy. Again, I only put 2 points in here because I don't feel like spending an extra point to get like 1.5 seconds is worth it. I'd much rather just get the flat 1 second. And then if you come right here, when you critically strike a dazed enemy, they are knocked down. So again, this is how we're going to proc this passive right here. So we have ways to daze with Twisting Blades. So we're going to have a way to knock down our opponent, get the passive to get increased critical strike against them, and we have guaranteed daze on them. Now, Dash. This is going to be your gap closer. I'm very confident that a bunch of rogues are going to be using this for PvP. I just feel like there's no way they're not going to use it. This ability, I feel like, is a must. I was talking to my friend Chandler, and I completely forgot that Rogue had this ability to dash, because he was playing a lot of Rogue during the beta. So with the upgrades I went for Rogue is I decided to go with the dash that slows enemies. And enemies that are already slowed are dazed. So again, another chance to get that 15% critical strike chance, because they're going to be slowed from Caltrops. So you guys kind of see how the synergy, the build, the whole flow is going now. And then I went ahead and just put 1 point in the weapon mastery because it's just free passive damage. You know, why would you pass it up? Like, we're probably most likely going to be using swords or daggers, so just a little increased damage where we can get it, might as well get it. Now, here's where things are going to get really good for this class. So concealment, movement speed, unstoppable. You gain 40 energy when you enter concealment. Again, this is feeding your rotation. So ideally the goal is, you're going to fight somebody, you're going to conceal, then you're going to pop out of concealment, you're going to hit the guaranteed critical strike. So you're going to hit them with twisting blades, you're going to critically strike them, and then on top of critically strike them, you are going to daze them. And because they are dazed, you have increased crit chance, because the daze when you daze an enemy, when you critically strike a dazed enemy, right, you're gonna increase your critical strike chance to them. So you just got a guaranteed crit, you just stun them, and you just greatly increase your next chance to crit again. So again, this is kind of the rotation I'm talking about with why I didn't really go with an ultimate with this build. I just feel like this setup is gonna be nuts. Now, I would put 1 point in agile. Using a cooldown increases your dodge chance. Again, I'm not too sure how good dodge chance is going to actually work in game in terms of PvP. If it's busted, I might reallocate some of these points and figure it out. But I think that's just good. But we really want it for here. While stealth, you heal for 9% of your maximum life per second. This is huge, guys. Huge, huge, huge. This ability lasts for 4 seconds. So if we do simple math, 9 times 4 is what, 36? You get 36% of your health back. Now this is if you don't break stealth, right? Which let's say on average you're going to use 2 seconds. Let's just be safe, be fair. 2 seconds, you probably use stealth. So 18% of your health you just healed. Now we have a passive up here that says when we critically strike, where is it? Heal for 3% of your maximum life when you critically strike a close enemy. Again, dashing was going to be the skill that we are going to use to break our critical strike with this skill. So again, we got 18 right here plus the 3, 21% of our health we are going to get to heal every 20 seconds. Guys, I don't know if you're not understanding like just how S tier this class is going to be, but that setup alone, crazy. Like, just guaranteed crit. If you guys have ever played the Elder Scrolls Online, this class plays just like it. It is like almost copy and paste with its skills, its abilities, its passives. It is just out of this world crazy. This right here is just, this is nuts. This is your ultimate. Like, literally going to stealth, coming out, getting guaranteed crit. On top of that, getting more crit, like I've been discussing earlier with how we're going to daze the enemy. Like, it's nuts. Now, for the imbuements, obviously just went with this because we're going to be having imbued weapons. Our goal is going to try to keep this up as much as possible so we get that extra 9% critical strike chance. Now, I went with cold imbued because I feel like cold imbued for PvP is just going to be so good. Because again, we have guaranteed crit, we have ways to stun, and we have another way to cause vulnerable. Again, vulnerable increases our damage by 20%. You could go with poison imbuement. Honestly, all of these are good. This is just my opinion. I think that this is the meta pick right here. It's just like, because you're gonna slow, and then cold imbuement deals 20% damage to crowd controlled enemies, and if they're frozen, it's doubled. And again, caltrops slowed. This is just all synergizing the whole setup. And then for the passives, deal 5% increased damage to chilled enemies, and if they're frozen, 10. And then chilled enemies have their movement speed reduced. Again, this is just to help add slow. That's why I only put 1 point there, because I'd rather put the points in other spots. And then for like our ultimate passive, I went with momentum, because again, like we have so many ways to hit a stunned enemy or a frozen enemy, right? And if we do that, our damage is increased. We get 20% damage reduction. We get 30% increased energy regeneration, and we get 15% movement speed. Again, this is for 8 seconds, guys. 8 seconds. If all of this stacks right, where is it? We're looking at 30. We enter concealment. Where is it? We enter concealment. So that's 30. That's 60% movement speed. Now, this is only if this obviously all like synergizes, but again, this is all going to come down to testing. Again, guys, this is just my crazy, very excited, like, rogue build. Again, guys, like I said, we really have to play the game to really see how good this is going to be. I'm just super excited. I wanted to bring this to you guys. You guys seem to really enjoy uh, these builds for Rogue, and just things to consider while making your own PvP Rogue build. Have a gap closer, have concealment. I'm sorry, but this ability is a must. Just it's guaranteed crit, guys. Guaranteed crit, guaranteed heal, guaranteed escape. I would really recommend having dash. Dash is just meta. Like this is your gap closer, guys. It is a gap closer. If someone's trying to get away from you, close the distance. Boom. You know, and then enemies damaged by dash take 20% increased critical strike damage. Again, guys, like look at this. Like we are guaranteed to critically strike. So if this passive works, right? If this will proc on the initial dash coming out of concealment, dude, you are looking at so much damage coming out of stealth. And then dash slows enemies hit by it. So again, I just think that it's just so good. Like, please guys, these two, like, I always preach don't copy and paste content creators. I think you should always use like content creators as reference. But I'm telling you guys, as someone who has a lot of experience in PvP and this kind of field, not necessarily Diablo, but just like games that have these mechanics and these kind of class skills and sets, like these two perks are the must. Everything else on my skill tree, guys, like get rid of it. Do whatever you want with it. Like change whatever basic, change whatever core skill. You know, have an ultimate, change the imbuement, do whatever you want to do that's going to be fun. That's another reason why, guys, I did not go and give you guys a whole legendary aspect and armor and unique and build, because like I think that's just no fun. I want to experience that in game. I want to find these pieces and make the builds like that. So again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm sorry this was another long one. I'm going to be making 4 more of these. Tomorrow will be the Barbarian, so stay tuned if you guys want to see that. Thank you guys all so much for coming and watching, and remember, if you guys enjoyed the content, please drop a like. Let's try to hit a like goal of 15 likes on this video before I post the next one. Let's get it. I know we can. And let's try to raise to 100 subscribers, guys. We are almost there. We've been live on YouTube for almost 2 weeks now, and we're closing in on 100. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. I sincerely mean that. Remember to go follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/CalTheGiant. Link will be in the description box down below. And if you guys missed it, go check out my tier list video. I kind of made every build in that video like in like a few minutes, so take all those builds with a grain of salt. That's why I made this video today, just to go more in depth. Again, I'm without sounding repetitive, thank you guys so much for coming and watching. I appreciate all the support, and consider subscribing if you guys want to see more Diablo 4 PvP content and classes coming in the future. Thank you so much. Peace.